What's going on, BodyArchitectz? This is Damien here. This video is going to be much different from our normal videos. I'm going to be talking about how to use a mass gainer and how to use your normal protein shakes that you see on a regular basis. First, I'd like to talk about the macronutrient layout of a mass gainer and your normal protein shake. Normally, your mass gainers, such as True Mass from BSN, that type of mass gainer specializes in your main macronutrients, such as your calories, fats, protein, and carbs. Okay, and that's gonna have a lot in each serving. Now, when you go to your regular protein powder, that's gonna really specialize in protein. It's not gonna have a lot of calories. It's not gonna have a lot of carbs. So I think it's and not a lot of fats either, and I think it's really important to remember the difference in those. Okay, because a lot of people assume that, you know, protein is protein. You know, all protein. That's all I want is protein. But a lot of beginners make the mistake of thinking that all I need is protein and nothing else. You know, or all I need is calories and nothing else. And I think that's a huge mistake. So now I'd like to talk about when to use them and which diets you should use them specifically. So let's start with bulking. Bulking, I think it's a good idea, and it's probably common sense to you all. I think it's a very good idea to use your for example, True Mass, your mass gainer, when you're bulking. Okay, because when you're bulking, you're trying to put on mass, but you're also going to put on fat. But the goal is to try to put on as much lean mass as possible, you know, without putting on a lot of fat. Now, I've personally tried True Mass BSN, and I think it's really good. It tastes really good. I got pretty good results. Unfortunately, I don't have before and after pictures of that, but it tastes very good. Now, on the screen here, you're going to see either on this side or that side a macronutrient layout of the True Mass. It's extremely important to remember to take your True Mass, your mass gainer, when you're incorporating that, when you're eating all of your meals, right? So it's a really dumb idea to just rely on your mass gainer for all of your gains, if you want to think of it like that. It's extremely important to remember that you have, whatever your meal count is, you have 5 to 6 other meals to eat, depending on your caloric requirements, your carb requirement, your protein, you know, etc., your requirements. Okay, your mass gainer is just a tool to use to help you build lean mass. Okay, it's not something to use as your sole provider of all of your gains. That's literally the last thing you want to do. Okay, if you're just relying on that, you'll probably make some gains, but not as much as you would if you were incorporating whole good foods. Okay, so that's the bulking side of using your mass gainer. Okay, so bulking and mass gainer go together. That's what I think. Now let's go to the cutting. Now your protein powder, your regular protein powder, like I said previously, consists mainly of protein. Obviously, it's not gonna have a lot of calories or carbs or anything like that, or fats. Okay, when you are cutting, you're trying to reduce your fat and your calories, not by a lot. You're not trying to do that by a lot, but you're really trying to do it in a way that your body is going to respond properly. Okay, and I see a lot of guys, they make the mistake of cutting their calories and their carbs and their fats drastically. Almost like, for example, cutting your calories by 1,000 on your first day. Not only are you going to feel like shit, but you're going to lose a lot of fat, but a lot of muscle mass. And the goal of cutting is to get rid of your body fat, as much body fat as you want, while maintaining proper muscle mass. That's something that is really important to realize. Oops. Okay, so same thing with cutting and how the protein relates to your cutting. You need to first have all of your meals laid out. If you do not have your meals laid out, your 5 to 4, whatever, how many meals you have, you need to do that first before you think about taking any type of supplements. Okay, because food, and in my opinion, and I know Miles thinks of it in the same way, your food is your #1 priority. Okay, after you have all of your meals laid out, that's when you can start incorporating your protein. Okay, right now we're on the topic of cutting, right? You got all your meals laid out. Then, right, if you're struggling to get that meal in, that last meal, you can try to incorporate that protein powder into one of your meals, right? So if you have a hard time getting those last 20 grams of protein in, because maybe you're just full or you just have a really busy day, that's when I think protein shakes are very usable. It's a tool. They're very valuable in your diet and your workout plan as well. So I think it's extremely important to remember that these are only tools. Okay, do not rely on these for your gains. Okay, that's the last thing I want you guys to do. Okay, and I also want you guys to really remember how to use them. Right. So let's just recap really quickly. Right, when we're bulking, it's a good idea to use mass gainer because it has a large quantity of your macronutrients that you need to help you build mass. Right, and then when we go to the cutting, the regular protein powder does not have a lot of the macronutrients besides protein powder. Doesn't really have a lot of those. I'm sorry, besides protein. So we really want to try to remember to incorporate that in our meal plans and in our diet as well. God, I'm fucking this up so bad. We're gonna go to the last part of the discussion here. I'm gonna try to give you guys an example of why it would be a bad idea to kind of use them almost in a reverse situation. Okay, so let's say if you're cutting, it's not the greatest idea to use your mass gainer when you're cutting. Okay, now you can, if you plan all your meals out right and you have all of your macros laid out correctly, you can actually incorporate your mass gainer into your meal plan. That would work totally fine. That's, it works great. So you can use mass gainer when you're cutting, but it's only a problem, like I said before, if you're relying on that for all of your nutrients. Okay, so if you're taking like 4 servings of mass gainer in like one day, you're probably going to feel bloated and like shit at the same time. So that's not a really good idea. So I recommend, just kind of 1 serving a day if you're going to actually use mass gainer, right? Only 1 serving a day, and really make sure you have the rest of your macronutrients laid out with your other meals, okay? But, like I just said, it's better to use regular protein powder when you're cutting because the macronutrients are not as extreme and the protein is where you want it to be, okay? Now, when you are bulking, I'm going to really emphasize this here. When you are bulking, it is, in my opinion, it's a very bad idea. I'm sorry if you guys hear the dogs barking in the background. I'm sorry about that. It's a really bad idea to use regular protein powder when you are bulking, okay? Because like I just said, the macronutrients in your protein and your regular protein powder are drastically low besides the protein, okay? And in order to build on lean mass and a healthy way, okay, you need all those macronutrients, okay? So I remember when I first started lifting, I didn't realize this. The first year and a half, I was just taking regular protein powder. That's all I was taking. After I get done with my workout, I drink that. After, maybe at the end of the day, if I missed it, I drink that, right? But I didn't realize that there's so many other nutrients that my body needs in order to grow. The next thing I wanted to talk about is how each protein powder makes me feel. So we'll start with mass gainers. I haven't taken too many mass gainers in my lifting history, I guess you could say. I haven't taken too many mass gainers, but the one that I took, like I said earlier, it tasted very good. It was awesome. But I wasn't really expecting the whole bloatingness. It made sense. I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't realize how much it was going to really feel. It wasn't uncomfortable. That's the thing. It wasn't really uncomfortable or anything like that. You could notice it, and if you were going for a jog or something like that and you wanted to take that beforehand, I would recommend waiting a good hour and a half, because if you try to do any type of working out, lifting, jogging, or anything, I don't know, if you try to do anything like that, you're gonna upchuck some of your mass gainers, and you're gonna lose your gains, which is that's not good. We don't want to do that, right? So yeah, mass gainer, only side effect is bloating. So that's really it. Now, with regular protein powder, it's much different in a way. I get no bloating, but the thing that I notice is that it tastes really bad. Any protein powder that I've had so far, and I've had a lot more protein powders than I have mass gainers, and the difference between them is the taste. It tastes so bad. It's disgusting, actually. But the good side of it is I have no bloating in that. So that's really the difference in between them. And obviously we just had a good lengthy conversation about the macronutrients. I'm not going to go over that again. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about how they made me feel and how they taste. Next thing I wanted to talk about was the prices. Wasn't really expecting this either. The price difference between the two are pretty drastically different in terms of prices. I'll start with the mass gainer. Mass gainer runs usually, when I walked into a vitamin shop or when I was looking on Amazon or online, they normally run between about 55 to I think 65. So the prices on there are pretty intense. The regular protein powder runs anywhere between, you can actually get it at Walmart if you want. So you got a wide range of prices. It goes from 20 to about, the most I've seen I think was about 45. So you have a larger options in terms of pricing for regular protein powder, but the prices on mass gainers are usually between 50 and 60 something dollars, and that's pretty pricey. And the servings are usually about 16 or less, or a little bit more, and that's really up to you to decide if you're getting, the bang for the buck. I thought I was, because I saw a lot of good results from it. But yeah, that's the price layout, and that's the taste layout, and how it makes me feel as well. So
tell the audience, man, which one is better. Is the protein powder better or the mass gainer better? Good question.
Very good question. The thing about that is your diet. They both are awesome, but your diet decides which one you have to take. So if we're cutting, we are using normal protein powder. If we're bulking, we are using mass gainer.
I have a question. I have a question. How did Chicken Little know that the sky was falling or whatever?
So that about does it for Damien's video on how to use a mass gainer properly. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to like and comment this video. It really helps the channel grow. And if you're new to the channel and you want to stay up to date to our future content, please go ahead and subscribe. And remember, recommend us some stuff to do. We need some help on what kind of videos you guys would like to see. Anyways, guys, we'll catch you guys next time.